that you hope to hear a lot. It's a great success story. And so I remember from that first success story, you were talking about how important innovation was. So I know that these ideas that he's going to share with us today, he's been adapting and percolating and modifying for a number of years, and probably before you moved into this space, you were doing it in your earlier positions as well. And what's also exciting about this presentation that we're going to hear about is that it's rare that someone gets 2 home runs. Now you may have 3, but the original site was clearly a home run. Sorry, I'll edit that. So the original site was, isn't that easier? I felt I was like struggling with that. So the original site was obviously a home run to get the original site. You can go back and listen to that recording to hear the story. And now they've got another project he's going to tell us about, which is the mobile app, right? And he's going to tell us a little about that. And that's a huge home run, and it's exciting. So we do a lot of mobile events, and it is mobile first nowadays. A lot of companies are doing that. So the formal presentation title is called Balancing Risk and Innovation. And Sanjib's the CTO of tradeMONSTER Holdings, and he's recognized by CIO Magazine. I'm not going to read this whole thing for you because you can read it, but the things I want to share from knowing Sanjib: CIO Magazine, Barron's, he's been speaking with this topic all over the world now. Sanjib is speaking about this topic, and you know, he's a local executive who's done really well. And you know, the thing that I like about Sanjib's background is that he is on the operating group of this corporation, and really jumped in and made this thing happen from an IT standpoint. And it really, when we speak to a leadership role and taking a leadership role and using disruptive technology to create something new, which can really help drive the company, you've now done this twice. So with that, you can tell I'm excited about it here. So his concept is risk, innovation, and leadership, striking the right balance. How about a warm welcome for Sanjib?
Thank you, Alex. I hope you can hear me, right?
Oh, yeah.
The tables in the back are empty, so I don't need anybody to go behind me. They cannot hear me.
I was waiting for the
Okay. So I think what I'm going to talk about more, which is important in today, is not only balancing risk and innovation, but it's more about everybody's talking about new technologies, right? We talk about open source, mobile, cloud. Now, as an IT leader, it becomes very difficult when somebody comes to you at your technology group and says, "Hey, can we work on this innovative technology? Can we work on cloud? Can we work on mobile?" And you are sitting between 2 phases where you have your business and stakeholders to answer to, and here comes this innovation intellectual quest by your technology team. How do you balance that? How do you balance that with the risk? There's always a risk. How do you balance this risk and make a strategy that is, no strategy is successful if it is only for IT, because IT is business and business is driven by IT, or vice versa, but they both have to go hand in hand. So how do you cut the right balance between balancing risk with innovation, with your leadership? That's what I'm going to talk about. Okay? If you guys are falling sleepy after lunch, let me know. I will fast please. So, if you look at today, most of the words that you hear more in the industry is, IT industry is balance. How many of you will agree with me that balance, fear, risk are the words that you hear in most of these days? People talk about balancing in your strategies. Security risk, vulnerability, getting hacked. Operations risk, system risk, and most importantly, fear. How many of us can cross their hearts and say we don't have fear to fail? Forget IT project, even in life you have fear to fail, right? So we get scared. The biggest thing is when you are working on innovation, when you are working on a new technology, there is a fear. There is a fear to fail, there is a fear to not to succeed. There is a fear that if we go too fast forward, how do we go back? And most importantly, the fear that if we work on a product that may have technology challenges, how cool is it for business? Because we might build the biggest product, best product, take months and years. By the time it's dated, it's no more use for our customers. What does that tell you? That tells you that in this current economy and industry where things are changing very fast, we got to balance innovation, take the right risks, and have the right leadership. That's what I'm going to talk about. Now, before I talk, no theory is good unless it's in practice. So I'm going to give you a little bit background about who we are. I mean, I'm not a professor who is coming and teaching you, hey, this is all the big theories in this world. But I got to have proven something, right? Otherwise, it makes no sense. You can go and read all this online, but this is something which we have, done, we have executed, and all my objective is that what we achieved is something that can be useful to you guys, that you can use and help and take pointers for. So our company, I don't know, some of you watch Fast Money in TV every day, the Nigerian brothers, John, Pete, Guy Adami, they're the TradeMONSTER group. So we pretty much started in 2006 in a small one room in 175 West Jackson Boulevard, so next to the Chicago Board of Trade, a few blocks from here. And with the mission that we had a small budget, one room, which was actually the library room of one of our investors. And we had a mission, we had a mission of making difference, in people's life. We had a mission to build a financial services company that brings good option content. We also want to introduce a concept which is trading anywhere and anytime, which means that those days, software, the trading systems were all software downloads, right? You need to have, imagine how much data flows through a trading day. If you look at options world, it's 8 billion messages in a span of like 6.5 hours during the day. So the high performance, low latency, because milliseconds count. People thought only thick clients can do it. Doing it in the browser where codes, your market data is pushed on the browser, that was unthinkable of. We had the mission, we had the goal that we will do something where a trading system can be built, we can build a rich user experience. You can trade anywhere and anytime from a library, from a public place. You don't need a specific computer. With that intention, overall vision was we want to make a change in people's lives because we included some education where a novice investor can learn to trade, educate himself and build a system. That was the concept. Most importantly is what we believe. We believe that we could do it, and any successful company, not saying we are big superstars, but whatever we have achieved in the industry in a short span of time, in few years from launch, on Saturday I woke up, a call from my CEO saying, hey, did you see the Barron's ranking, because we are waiting for it. In few years of launch, we have been ranked in the top 2 trading companies in the whole country. Beating our bigger names like Schwab, Emirates, no offense, nobody from here, those companies here, right? Just joking. But most importantly, if you see, the belief is you should not be scared to fail. But if you fail, nobody is perfect, we can fail. But if we fail, we have to fail fast and move forward. So you don't reach a point with innovation where there is point of no return. And what drove us? Most importantly, you can do all this risk, innovation, everything. But it's ultimately at the end of the day, the people, the team that does the work for you. See, IT gurus have a challenging job, right? Sometimes programmers technologists can say, okay, I'll write the piece of code. I can fix the bug. But we are dependent on how others are working, how others do it, because that's our strength. So if we don't have a team then this whole culture of innovation, collaboration is mute. We can't succeed. So the most important thing is we need to build a team that has the culture of innovation, has the passion to succeed, and understands what the company's business goals are and what it wants to achieve. Doing this, what we achieved, we believe no mountain is high. That's what you got to tell your team. Everything is possible. We can make it happen. We are imagine a trading system. How many of you think that, no offense to MySQL and Oracle guys here, in 2006, 7 or 8, how many of you, when I went and told that, okay, we are going to build this whole low latency trading system for retail customers in MySQL or open source, people used to laugh at me. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Today, we are the only nationally run brokerage that runs primarily open source. Imagine last year, you guys saw on August 1st, one small bug, software bug from Knight Capital, caused 400 million plus loss, which makes you that there is no tolerance of error. There is no tolerance of downtime in trading industry. But we use open source there. Imagine if something failed, we are out of business. But what is the key? We did not fear to fail. We are not scared to take risks. And that is what I'm talking about. If we look at our trajectory when we launched from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, every year, Barron's is the most widely acknowledged online trading brokerage in the industry. We have just grown up, beating leapfrog in the competition. What does all this tell you? What all this tells you is that if you are working on something innovative, if you are working on a growth phase company, you're growing your company with a dream and a mission, you've got to have the right balance of risk and innovation, which should be supported by the right leadership, because you cannot have a successful strategy of risk and innovation without the right leadership. And as leaders, it's up to us, because risk is a lens through which you evaluate what you should respond to innovation. Just by innovating, like if people are talking about cloud or HTML5 or open source, you should not just go behind the innovation. How you create a business case, how you analyze your risk, that forms the right successful strategy. And as leaders, that's what we should learn. Let's talk about what we did and my steps that we could assume to balance your risk and innovation. I mean, I've talked about this quite a lot, in the industry and media as well. But this is my 5 pointers that if you go step by step, you can evaluate responding to, an innovation. The first thing that, would all of you agree that when you are looking to an innovation, that you have to understand, should we move towards the technology or not? Would you all agree that making the right move is important? Like, you have to understand, okay, people are telling me that this whole cool, cell phone technology is, improving. Should we do it? So making the right move is important. After that, you execute it. But most important thing is, till each and every step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what it tells you is that minimize your risk. It's risk of not only failure of the project, it's risk of running over budget, running over time, developing a product that is not useful for the business. But what is the most key amongst all these things? An innovative technology strategy is not about satisfying programming passion of building something cool or writing a piece of code. It is about building a competitive edge. It is about when there is a business case for the innovative strategy. Till as IT leaders, you cannot convince your business partners or stakeholders or your board that there is a clear business case, return on investment, and revenue opportunity for this innovation, you will not get budget or support for innovation. So as much as you are working with your programming team to respond to innovation, This is key important. So what's the first thing that we do for when something is very hot, in the market? So you evaluate. Let's go there. You evaluate a business case to be a competitive differentiator. Let me explain a little bit on that. Let's say mobile HTML5 is very hot in the market, right? We have been hearing about it. Mark Zuckerberg said, we invested a lot of time and energy and money for HTML5, and it's still not ready for prime time. People in the media said, it's, web is dead, HTML5 is not alive, and it's not ready. So suppose a company has already started working on HTML5, so if your strategy was just adapting to technology, then it would have been a failure. So the first thing is mapping and comp differentiator. So suppose you are working on a mobile project, right? Your competitive differentiator is, okay, suppose for us, I'm missing out on revenue on people who cannot trade on an iPad. As you know that Apple will have sold more than 100 million iPads in 2012. So the shift on the industry is moving from a notebook to an iPad model. So people who are trading in notebooks, say we were anywhere, anytime before. People who are trading on a notebook, people who are trading on, different, they are missing out on trading opportunity. Most importantly, it's also that we had a mobile tool, a mobile product, which was software as a service, but it was not reflecting the same class of user service that we had in our platform. So, for example, then you have to decide that when I'm building this business case, will it help to get more customers? Will it make customers happy? For example, how many of your customers will come and say, hey, we all use Samsung Galaxy and all, blah, blah, blah. Your product doesn't support in this device. Which means that a customer is getting frustrated that his needs are changing and you're not keeping up to it. So when you're speaking to innovation, you have to first define whether I have a return on investment and I can have a strategy that I can acquire or make current customers happy. The next thing is you define a strategy and do a POC. Never, ever, in my opinion, invest on doing an innovative new technology on your main project. What it helps is that when you do a POC or a non-mission critical project, it gives your programming team familiarity with the technology, knows the do's and do nots of technology, and test your waters out, in which risk is pretty low, because nobody's going to come behind you if your HTML5 or cloud did not work on a development project or a side project, right? But you are getting familiarity. Another most important thing is, as I said, team. When you give people opportunity to work on this, people feel excited. How many of you will agree that when you are working on legacy systems, supporting them for a long years, and you get an opportunity to work on a site for testing out new technology, it motivates the team. So it works both ways. You work on a POC, you have your team motivated, and you try out, testing that this strategy works or not, in terms of technology. For example, you are doing an open source technology. Which part of the LAMP stack you choose? You're doing a mobile strategy. Should I go native? Should I go hybrid? Should I go cross-platform? Right? It depends, because you need to decide the technology and do a POC. Once you have done that, you know how the technology works, you know there is a clear case of return on investment, you try to define your product line and features that will help to get your customers build competitive edge. For example, let's say we are competing with a trading firm. Building the same functionality with a new technology is not a competitive edge. But when you know your capabilities of what the technology can do in step 2, then you define your features and functionalities, what would give you a competitive edge. Now steps, as I said before, step 1 to 3 is making the right move. Once you have done till step 3, you know that, okay, hey, I'm ready, I'm making the move, I gave the example, like you have to feel it, that okay, I'm ready to move. You have made sure that, okay, I'm ready to go. You convinced your people that, okay, this is a strategy we're taking. The risk doesn't stop there. Failure doesn't stop there. The failure is, a lot of people have excellent ideas. A lot of people have come up with, okay, we can do this, we can do that. You know what, this is wrong. But the real success is how you execute it. We can talk about all big things, but if it doesn't get done, nobody cares. See, like, for every successful people you hear the story, there are thousands which are unsuccessful, which you never hear the story. The focus only goes on people who are successful, and they say, oh, this is my strategy. So the main thing is taking it to completion. On step 4, what are the first thing that you do to reduce risk? The model of long cycles of development does not work. You need to test the waters out and get short, agile cycles of development, testing and getting user feedback to analyze the risk. Even in that, you should plan your cycle such a way that you're focusing on framework, like suppose you're building a mobile application or a trading application. What are the cool, important pieces that you want, like your streaming data handling, how you are doing transactions. So you should decide on a framework, a basic framework that touches all the pieces, and don't keep it for too late. Solve the challenges early stage, because that will help you. Keep in mind that even if you fail at step 4 or early, there is no shame in failing. But there is always shame in when you have run for a long time and you have failed after that. After you have done this, planned these release cycles, what you do is at every step, you analyze the risk and analyze the impact. Even if after you have gone through 2-3 cycles of agile development, you can still stop the project. Which means that at every point you're analyzing risk, and I think it will still be considered as a learning experience about when you're trying to do technology. So what I'm going to do is that I'll give you 3 small examples where 3 new innovative technologies which came in the market and how we responded. As you agree that the right move can be either positive or a negative response, that we can go forward or may not go forward, right? Let's take case 1. Case 1 is when we started this platform, in 2006, 2007, we formed the company. We wanted to build a brokerage platform, as I told you, right? Case 1 is, at that time, we wanted to open source for low cost of ownership. A lot of Web 2.0 RIA was very, very popular in the market. More importantly, we want to push all the data in the browser. For example, in most of the applications, you click on a button, it goes to the request goes, and you get a response. Then came Ajax, where you put a request, and only that part of the website through asynchronous request response updates. But imagine when you're pushing all the data back to the browser, that you are not doing anything, watching the browser, and it's doing everything for you. You're getting all the code updates, your account changes, portfolio changes, order updates, everything. It's doing from the backend, pushing on the browser. The browser only runs on a thin, HTTP connection. You're doing all of that. So how did we do this innovation? How did we want to do open source approach? Same thing. What is a business advantage? If you look at those steps, competitive differentiator. Our competitive differentiator is very simple. We have nothing. We have a room with few desks and chairs. We have to build a platform. So that is our competitive edge, right? But competitive edge means that we want to build a product that people can trade anywhere, anytime, combined with a rich user experience. That is very important. Like there are thousands of brokers out there, but how do we build this experience on a very seamless platform in the browser? So what we did in 2006, 2007, we used some of these technologies. We tested the waters out in our optionmonster.com website, which is not that transaction centric, not mission critical. We tested got the experience of